involved in the Little Theater, you could all decide, you know, hey, let's help spread the word, get people to, if they're talking about the show, ask them to put this hashtag in there, you know, and, but you can also, there's nothing wrong with asking friends to help you spread the word.
Yeah. It would be just like if before Twitter, if you went to somebody and you were like, I'm starting a business or I'm doing this, could you tell your friends, let people know?
Yeah.
It's the same principle. I'm going to pick these up if you guys are all done. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pick a random one of these industries.
We have about 10 minutes, Glenn.
I missed what a hashtag is.
A hashtag is basically a keyword on Twitter. You put the pound sign in front of a word, and it used to be that you could not search Twitter. It wasn't searchable, and so people owned, or it wasn't easily searchable, and so Twitter users started this hashtag method so that they could follow. It was a way of organizing topics and following things. Now it's basically a keyword. But so like when you see people, if they're tweeting about Occupy Wall Street, it's going to be pound OWS, you know, and that immediately tells you what that tweet is about. But you don't have to use them. But it is a way for your tweet to get found by people who are looking for a specific term.
When you're broadcasting something like in Facebook and you send, where are you sending this to? Just, you know,
Whoever's your friend or following you.
you have to be connected with somebody for them to get this message. So how do you basically create your...
Well, that's another thing. If you set your account up to be public, you don't have to be connected to them for them to see it. People could search and they could run across you. Like a business, you wouldn't want that to be a private profile. You want the public to be able to see it. Your personal page, yes.
Sending it out to Alphabet Heaven and...
Yeah, it's just going out there and waiting for people. And chances are people aren't going to find it for a long time because there are tons of pages. But that's what you want to do. Like when you first get on Facebook, you want to connect with as many of your friends as you can, and then you want to ask your friends to, you know, recommend.
He's in Boone. He sends it out to...
Oh, you're talking about the tweet?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're sending all this information out. How are you establishing who you're sending it to? And are you sending it to anybody in the internet? Or are you sending it to your contact list?
Well, in Jeff's case, he was on Twitter, and so when he tweeted that, or he checked in that he was in Boone, through Foursquare, and so it went through Twitter. These small businesses who also are Twitter users had a search set up that was constantly pinging to see if any of these search terms come up.
So anybody that's in Twitter would have gotten his message?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to see it. If I'm not looking at the time, because it goes so fast.
It's in that universe.
Right, it's in that universe, unless he has it set up as a private profile so that only a private group of, only his followers can see it.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's a good question.
Okay,
That's what this is for.
like, okay, if because I have a Twitter account that I haven't kept up with, but if I said something about Halifax County in each of my tweets, okay, where do I go from here?
So if you went on there and everything you tweeted, you did pound Halifax County with no spaces, if somebody goes on there and searches for Halifax County, it's going to make your tweets easier to match up.
Now, you said, would that be true if they Googled Halifax County?
Not necessarily, because Google doesn't have as rapid access to Twitter. You know, eventually.
Well, how does it get to Google?
And I don't know all the ins and outs of how Google and Twitter interact.
They keep a lot of that stuff secret.
Yeah, they keep a lot of it secret, and it used to couldn't search it at all. Now it can, but I think it has to be up for a certain length of time. But that's why Google has started changing their algorithm so much too, because they want to be able to pull in more of the real-time stuff. Of course, Twitter, you know, it's a double-edged sword for Twitter and Facebook, and because they want their content to be found, but they also want you to have to come to them. So they're like, which way do I want to have it? You know, and they want to play nice, only as nice with Google as they have to do to get the best results, you know.
And the thing you have to remember about the modern consumer and the modern customer is with the internet, they don't want to have to go to a million different websites to find out basic information. That's why sites like Facebook and Twitter and Reddit are so popular, because in one place you can get the news, You can get updated on your friends. You can find funny things. All that stuff is available in a handful of websites. Whereas it used to be, if you wanted to find a funny video, you had to go to one site. If you wanted news, you had to go to another site. If you wanted to see what your friends were doing, you had to go to each individual website that they were running off of Angel Fire, if they even had one. So it's making information and communication between the company and the consumer easier and quicker and much more efficient.
And you know, the irony is back in the olden days when all the businesses were small mom and pops and they all knew all of their customers, everything was intimate and on a first name basis, and then over the years we've become more impersonal, and technology made everything so much more impersonal, and the companies didn't even know their customers, and now it's coming back around full circle. Technology is actually enabling you to have a closer relationship with your customers than you ever have in decades, probably. But it's also enabling you to reach out and have customers around the world, literally, that you could talk to through your computer if you wanted to.
And I think an important thing to remember too, especially from my side of the table, is that the people that are looking at moving businesses or expanding businesses or relocating them, where originally they were only searching newspapers to find out information on a community, now they're searching everything, and we're finding out they're using Urban Spoon and Yelp in ways that we would have never anticipated to find out what people are saying about that community. And because most of those people who are posting on those sites are visitors to the community, they're getting a quote-unquote unbiased or unfiltered opinion of what people from the outside think of your community. And right now we don't have a lot of control, if you will, over that. So that's why I think it's one reason why it's important to put as much positive information in as many different fields as possible. So when you have the town of Boone, I'm certain that somebody organized that effort up there. And then those businesses all reached out to me, and I felt very welcome in the town of Boone. And then I told everyone about my positive experience in Boone.
Did you leave any money there?
I left a lot of money there.
That's the biggie, right?
Unfortunately.
But that's a really good point, and I tell people, like with the case of the IDA, that people who live in communities have just as much, almost as much effect on marketing that community to companies who want to move in as the actual professionals that are doing it. And actually just people in the community, by being online and spouting off but never saying the good things, could literally cost a community the chance to land a good business, but they're not thinking about it that way. And that doesn't mean you never want to, that doesn't mean you only have to say good things, but just, you know, to keep things like that in mind, that to try to say good things when you have the chance.
And one thing we were talking about earlier about how social media can really benefit small businesses is there was a couple months, maybe a month or so ago, there was a viral video that started circulating around the internet of a guy called Chuck Testa who ran a small taxidermy business in the Midwest somewhere. It was literally just him, and I think his daughter was his secretary. That's the only employees that he had, and all he did was taxidermy. That's not really a business that you would imagine a lot of people hearing about outside of a local community. But he made a commercial that was kind of cheesy, kind of funny, and it was on TV locally, but he also put it on YouTube. And somebody wandered across it and thought it was hilarious and posted it all over the place. And everybody else thought it was hilarious too. And suddenly, millions and millions of people know who Chuck Testa is, even though he does something that he provides a service that the vast majority of those people would never ever use. But now everybody, not only in his local area, but people in the surrounding area, people in the entire state know who he is. And while he might not be the best taxidermist in his area or in his state or even on his block, just as I'm sure all you know, brand recognition is one of the most important things.
Well, tell them about what the people did.
Oh, they created fake pictures of him. I don't know. It was just like him holding up people. You'd have to see the video.
So it's like people were doing spoofs of his advertisement. So, and they were using his name everywhere. So, you know, he ends up with all this free spoof advertising and
literally